Busy week for the FAI when word of our success, most likely success, in terms of bidding to host the Euro 2028. We've been down here in the Aviva Stadium, but we've been looking at the local game. They have been recording a version of the LOI Show, which it goes out on LOITV and is a wrap-up of the weekend action from across the SSE Airtricity Premier League, First Division and Women's National League. It's an experiment which started last year with the streaming of all of the matches and has been developed again this year. So the LOI Show is the biggest example of that and the most obvious way in which they are looking to promote not only the best bits but also the analysis. It's an experiment which has taken off and is attracting good numbers of viewers as well, as we found out when we spoke to Cian Nelson and Nicola Brannigan from the FAI, and first to Oisin Langan, the presenter of the LOI Show. You're an experienced broadcaster. How important is it to actually have a window like this which shows all of the best bits from a weekend action?
It's very important to have the analysis of it. At this stage of the week, it's Tuesday now, for example, as we come from live from the Aviva. If you really want to see the goals, you will have seen them. What you might not have got is analysis, and that's really important. We've got some of the top names in the game, we've got some up-and-comers, and that's the really important part of it. And it's good to get an outside view of that, because sometimes I think with fans, they only get a view from inside of their own club, and the phrase echo chamber has been used an awful lot in the last couple of years. I'm going to take it back off Donald Trump and the coverage of him and apply it to League of Ireland. It's important not to exist in an echo chamber, which is why this is important.
We don't know if Donald Trump is watching the LOI Show, but there will be plenty of people out there who might have been to the games or who might have actually watched them on the stream as well. You've come from a world of radio and you're working across a number of different media now. The streaming revolution has been accelerated by virtue of COVID and us not being able to go to stadia. How solid do you think the base is now that this is going to be here for the real long term?
It's the way of, I was going to say the future, but it's the way of now, Rob. It's the way people are going to watch most of their sport. Even, for example, when I watch a game now on Sky Sports or BT, I'm doing it via stream. I have a Now TV subscription. I don't actually have a standard TV subscription anymore, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Streaming is going to grow because there used to be a resistance to showing matches by sporting bodies and clubs because they felt people wouldn't come to the games. But now I think all of those bodies realise that this is a way of actually getting more eyes in your game, and this is a way of growing your club. And someone might not necessarily ever go down to your club or your pitch or your stadium or whatever to see you play, but now they might still see you play. And this is a way to going out and meeting them. And sometimes, like, a family can't get out for the night, or they can't all pack into the car and head 200 miles up the road to see their team wherever they're playing, but they can see them. And you're not just relying on terrestrial television, which is still massively important, by the way, but it's important to have various different ways to show your item, show your club, show your product, and for fans to be able to watch that. And that's where streaming is good, and it's only going to grow.
The LOI Show is a brand new initiative for this year. What's the purpose of it, Cian?
Yeah, it's a development on the back of the success so far of LOITV, which we introduced last season, and it's really building on what we've done in the streaming context in terms of obviously live match action across the men's and women's leagues, but now filling that gap that's existed in terms of not just a highlight show, but very importantly the analysis side of it. So again, stimulating conversation each week, a review of action. Clubs are doing a very good job in terms of utilising highlights, after the matches on the weekend, but this is a place usually on a Monday evening where fans can, across the league, and hopefully new fans, come and watch and learn a bit more and listen to some key talking points from some of our expert panel, and really just to stimulate debate about matches, and then to hopefully attract people to either tune into matches or attend matches in the weeks ahead. It's answering a demand that was there from our fans. There have been previous iterations on linear TV in the past in terms of highlight shows, and with that gap that's existed for the last number of years, there was a demand there, particularly from League of Ireland fans, but again from casual fans as well, who want to learn a bit more, maybe aren't attuned to the ins and outs details of teams from week to week, but where new fans can come learn about what's happening in the league. And again, it's just to answer that gap that was there. So again, yes, it's developed on back of LOITV. That was a big success, bringing that in across all games. So that's men's Premier and First Division and the Women's National League, which is a huge undertaking. But then also utilising that footage now to again bring it into a new type of package for, again, not just our own current fans, but hopefully new fans.
This is about giving SSE Airtricity and Bank of Ireland and the other partners, the commercial partners that have come on board with the league, as well as with each of the individual clubs, something else to get their teeth into? Is it something that they wanted, or is it something that you've created and that they're enjoying?
Yeah, I think we created, as Cian said, we followed on, I suppose, from the success of LOITV last year. It's giving fans a different platform to look back at the games from the weekend previous. SSE Airtricity and Bank of Ireland have both been very supportive to us on it. As you see inside there today, there's lots of SSE branding up there with plinths and various other things that we have included in our weekly package. So it's an absolute great opportunity for any partner to come on board to be involved in LOITV, and our current sponsors, as we say, that we have already got for the league, are rowing along behind us nicely with it as well.
And the streaming revolution has been accelerated by virtue of the fact that big stadia like this were closed for such a long period of time, and everything was thrown up in the air, and it's come down and it's landed, so that streaming has really found its place here now. Where are you with the numbers of people that are tuning in to watch the League of Ireland in its second year being streamed live, compared to where you were at the beginning of this experiment?
Well, it's a really good question, because if you look at grounds, say the likes of Shamrock Rovers, Bohemians, that have sold out their season tickets, it's a platform and it's an avenue for fans that would otherwise like to be in the grounds of, say, a Friday night to watch the games that aren't going to necessarily be shown on TV every week. So our numbers are growing week on week, and again, similarly with the LOI Show, they have grown week on week for us as well since we started that at the beginning of the season.
I think absolutely, again, that's of course the aspiration to have bigger audiences, and a lot of that would be on linear TV, absolutely, and we'd want more games and we aspire to have that. What streaming has allowed us to do in the last year, and as you mentioned earlier, a lot of it has been on the back of COVID, which was for most sports, to give that option to fans who couldn't get into stadiums. Streaming is here to stay, really. The genie's out of the bottle in that sense. And what we have now is a platform that is hopefully very viable, and we believe it is, and it's going from strength to strength. So we do see it as something. I don't think we can envision the day where it's not possible to, no matter where you are, for whatever reason you mightn't be able to attend, whether that's because you're based abroad or you have some other commitment, that you can't simply pull out your phone, your iPad, or put it cast onto your TV screen where you can't tune into your team. I think it's hard to imagine that not happening. So absolutely, we'd see it as something that is here to stay. Our clubs have done a tremendous job in terms of supporting this. Across the first division of the Women's National League, that's clubs producing those streams, which is a huge undertaking, much of it on a volunteer basis. In the Premier Division, we've had a huge cooperation with the clubs, working with our production company. We have volunteer commentators, and a lot of hard work that goes in from clubs. So it's been a real team effort, but it is something, provided that we can continue doing that with clubs, that we see as something that's here to stay.